Now, Claire has requested some more Igorrr, which we listened to last week. And it was pretty avant-garde. There were some elements of metal in there. There was kind of like thrash jazz. And so I don't know what we're going to be getting into with this one. So let's just jump straight into it and see what we're getting into. This is very nice what they're doing here. So there are a lot of really beautiful Middle Eastern sort of guitar and lute type instruments out there. This one is potentially made of horsehair. I don't know the name of it. I was suspecting it was something like an oud, but it's not. But what they have done is they have taken that sound, recorded it very clean, but they've overlaid it with some guitar sounds as well, or they have processed it through some sort of guitar amps to give it more of a guitar sound on certain parts. Just kind of, it's setting down this feeling of this Middle Eastern feeling, but also hinting that something more electric and heavy might potentially be coming our way. The visuals are very cool. I'm thinking Dune. I'm thinking like Star Wars, you know? Yeah, very, very, very cool. Let's crack on. Oh, Matizia with that. I feel like sort of Middle Eastern sci-fi has kind of become a genre in itself, hasn't it? Like, you're very Dune. I'm very Mad Max. I'm seeing in the chat. Yeah, very Mad Max indeed. But this mixture of kind of like this kind of electronic soundscape, along with metal, along with Middle Eastern instrumentation and Middle Eastern modes. I believe modally we're in the Phrygian scale at the moment, which is a mode that's commonly used for Middle Eastern music. So they have a lot of kind of chromatic runs in them, you know, and it gives it this this kind of snake charmer kind of feel to it. It's it's sort of, it reminds me a little bit of a genre kind of from like the late 90s where you had like doom metal, which was kind of like very slow, very heavy, stomping kind of music, you know? It gives me a little bit of that. There's a slight grunginess to it. There's a lot of things coming together here, but it's very experimental and they're having a lot of fun with it. And it's just it's really like this kind of art piece, isn't it? I'm very excited to hear what's going to come in this drop. Her voice is outstanding. I love a good wail, you know, a good wailing voice in this genre. It's just absolutely perfect. Very interesting what they've done here musically. They're really utilizing the registers with the vocals because it can be quite difficult sometimes to have two vocals doing counter melodies to each other and them not interfere with each other. So her voice is on a very high register and his voice is on a very low register. And rhythmically, they're not kind of intervening with each other. They're kind of staying, they're staying apart up here, and they're kind of staying outside of each other's rhythmical pocket. And it gives a really cool effect, but it's this sort of, it's this going to war, this kind of like evil army I'm hearing, you know, and also I'm feeling with the two voices, it's almost like two sides of a battle. You know, it's almost like angels versus demons is what I'm hearing, you know what I mean? And it's like you've got the cry of the angels and like the sort of growling march of the demons, you know? That's what I'm seeing sort of visually in my head when I'm listening to this. What language are they speaking? I couldn't quite make it out. It can be difficult with the kind of like more screaming kind of style when it's in another language to exactly identify it. But if you could let me know in the chat, that would be really cool. I love when you have kind of like heavier metal that's not afraid to use elements from dance music and kind of production wise. We've seen a lot of that over the last sort of decade or so, where dance production has made its way into a lot of different genres. And so you get these kind of like cut up sections and things like that vocally, or with the instruments, they might kind of like remix things a bit within the original track and just give it this more like glitched effect. That, you know, like it's not a totally new thing, I think, but artists like The Prodigy and stuff were really pioneers of that kind of thing, of taking like heavy music and making it more kind of dance, like cutting it up and everything. But you're seeing it, it's definitely a lot more common now, and I'm really glad it is, because it really brings a lot to it, you know. It adds a lot of like creative freedom, I suppose is what I'm saying. So the language they sing is called Oxo Xox. It's purposely nonsensical. Thank you, Claire, for explaining that. That is really, really cool. Okay, so they've kind of like just made up a kind of like orcish kind of goblin language to just express themselves freely. I mean, never mind like the dance production as a freedom of expression, making up your own language to sing in. That is that's another level of freedom. Igorrr, hell of a band. Sounds a little German to me. Wow. 2020. They're a really interesting group, aren't they? And I feel like they're one of these groups that just, yeah, as I was saying before about creative freedom, they're just open to kind of going anywhere. And I see in the chat, Sunflowers and Sass, you're saying, do you listen to Claire, do you listen to The Who, which is a Mongolian metal band? And there's similarities here a little bit. I see some kind of here, some influences from The Who, or at least a parallel kind of, they share similar interests, influences. Definitely this kind of like driving kind of fantasy war music, you know? Who doesn't love that, right? That was really, yeah, a very, very interesting thing to listen to. And what I like about this band is I feel that the next song I listen to by them is going to be completely different again. So really, really exciting. Awesome. Igorrr, that was Downgrade Desert.